She may have silently screamed when pain became her second name. She may have swallowed rivers of tears, pretending not to drown. She may even have contemplated death when she felt there was no reason to keep on keeping on. But now hear her roar as she shouts this to the world. While pain became my second name, it was my gateway to victory all the same. And the rivers of tears in which I thought I'd nearly drown, well, that's now become my riverbed on which my mermaid treasures can now be found. And as for death, death died its bloody death when my divine purpose became my only breath. And now my roar is the tender, compassionate, inspiring whispers. I feed my brothers and sisters so that their own suffering will not starve them. And now my roar is my voice through which I channel those who have been devoiced by systems and perplexities beyond their own control. And now my roar is the half moon that shines across my face as I smile at the beauty of living a purposeful, triumphant life. And now my roar is the license I choose to give myself to unconditionally love myself, because self-love now amplifies my presence in this world. And now my roar is my laughter that tumbles from deep within my soul, bouncing between light and love, and the realization that I was never broken, but always whole. And now my roar is my fulfilled dreams, a self-made oasis birthed in a desert in which I did not ask to be birthed in, get lost in, or get draped in twice. And now my roar is my uncompromised, unapologetic authenticity. And now my roar is the true celebration of my precious soul's sacredity.
What a sacred space this was. The ability to speak to two sisters, two queens, royalty that has survived for a reason. I absolutely feel honored. I'm always honored when I hear the stories of people, or they allow me to listen and not take that moment. We wanted it to go a certain way. I believe in the natural, authentic, and organic unraveling of where he wants to take the conversation. There's going to be another probably two segments to this. It's important because there's another 15-year-old that must hear. There's another 12-year-old that must hear. And there's a 60-year-old that must hear. Because we are carrying around unmedited shame. And sometimes when I last week I was facilitating life skills. And they are young, 18, 19, 23. And they're working with that briefcase of shame. And for that week, I'm only able to do so much, but you almost want to relieve them from that cage we spoke about, Joslyn. And so I'm going to ask you in a while, as we conclude the segment, I survived, and this is my story that's not going to be tainted. I say this often. And so when they come, what is that scar called, the keloid? And in the cold, it's done, it's closed, it's healed. But when it's cold, it aches again. And so when it aches again, and the shame comes again, because healing is not linear, it's circular. That you remind that voice that I no longer stay here. And that's my prayer for girls, because I know that feeling of shame, that I want to tell them that if you've met this man, and that, wow, is so different from the experiences that we had with people that should have protected us and loved us. And so I'm going to ask you in a minute to speak to that little girl or older woman out there, something that you wished they would have said to you. When we spoke, I got this picture, Lynn, of this wedding dress, this word purity, that is so close to my heart. How do we debunk this traditional idea of purity? What does purity mean before the Father? What does it mean? And so I'm going to go straight into a poem I wrote in 2017, and it was for children, that was brutally murdered just in a year. It was about over 200, just in the Western Cape. And when you spoke, Lynn, part of what I saw was an invoicing, but Darsdorp, guts out, it was very violent. I think about your story, Joslyn, that lives in every family. It's there, it's still there. And so I wrote this in 10 minutes in the car on my way to work, and it went viral. It was never meant to go viral. I wrote it, and I believe God steered this. And so it says, rest in peace, children of the Cape Flats. Have our breasts become too big for your appetite? Our genitals lost its sweetness for your ravage? Our bodies too enlarged for your cold, rough clasp? The same organs used to birth you, to nurture you, to protect you? She's 6, he is 5, and she was 3. Has the taste of our lips, the look in our eyes threatened you? A tiny little body in a dress that only reveals a softness and an innocence. What do you see and how do you see? His pretty little face, it seduces you, it hardens you. Guts out, socks in the mouth, private parts mutilated, bloody discharges, a tiny little bones broken. Your bullet strays, it is not against your rival gangs, it's my kids, it's our kids. She was 8, he was 11, she was 5. They say you suffered trauma, you lacked a father, Tuk has overcome you, you're unemployed. I don't know. I think you're an evil bastard without a bloody soul. And our parks are empty and our streets are in silence, and the laughter is now gloom. For they all hide from you. They hide from you, you the protector, the daddy, the caregiver. Our daddies, our fathers, our uncles. Has humanity escaped you? Goodness past you? They sit warmly tucked away in their offices with raised flags. Politicians unaware, unconcerned because their little ones are safe in those private schools. And Zuma, use your focus, but the flats is forgotten. Church, where are you? Robes, your titles that stink. You're silent, silent, silent. She's 6, he's 14, and she was 4. A 5 rand to silence her, a lifetime to heal. You found her innocence worth penetrating. Blood, guns, gangs, sex, drugs, psychosis, overpopulated backyards. It's a war. It's a cold war. Rest in peace, children of the Cape Flats.
What falls into my spirit in this moment is to be speaking to the boys, to be speaking to the men. Because while this person was brutalizing me and bashing and punching and hitting and beating, he was cursing his sister and his mother. And that takes us to the concept of mental health when it comes to men. And my books were never, the poem The Rape was never ever, which was written 23 years later. That was my gateway. That was the key that unlocked the gateway to forgiveness. Writing it and being able to read it, and in reading it becoming an observer in my story and depersonalizing and objectifying what had gone down. And what had gone down was this: there was an angry man who repressed his anger, young man, he was 23. He was battered, obviously emotionally, by his sister and his mother, repressed his anger, and I and the alleged previous girls became an object for his displaced anger. I'm not saying that it was right, but contextualizing what he did was one way of actually freeing me. But my message to men and women, because women abuse as well, and when we don't heal, we will bleed on those who never ever hurt us. And so my call is to men and boys and women out there to heal, to recognize that you have issues, whether it's an anger issue, whether it is a self-esteem issue, whether it's a security issue, insecurity issue. Recognize it and conquer those demons. If you don't know how, even just saying this is wrong with me, identifying what is not working for you, what doesn't feel right for you, because it's not only going to save your life, it is going to save the hearts of all of those whom you come into contact with. And so mental health is not a concept. It is a daily lifestyle. It is a choice of facing our demons, our fears. To young men, if your dad is not on the mark as a father, if he's missing the mark, that's not your responsibility to inherit that. So to young boys, to men and to women who are abusing their partners because of your unhealed state, go and get the help you need. You are saving more than one heart, and it's not even your own.
Thank you, Lynn. You take us into the next segment of this conversation, because I don't believe that the boy should be separated, or the man, from this conversation called restoration, because those boys, those men are our brothers. Some of those perpetrators live in our families. And so, Joslyn,
So I just want to allude to what you're saying now, and I'm thinking when we did my interview, and the specific thing that I said over and over again was secrets, and I want to speak to the women and the men, and especially the men, because I feel that men have egos, and so they won't share these things. And so I want to say, just not to keep the secrets. Find somebody that you can speak to. And I understand that we live in a world where we don't always want to share and want to bring out the secrets, because the world say this is how we're supposed to do it. But coming back to the mental health, if we do not make the decision to say, let go of the egos, let go of the shame, so that I can be healthy. And again, I want to allude to the fact it's not just for you as a person, but it's for the generations to come. And if we think anything about our children and our generations, our grandchildren, that we will not die with secrets. I remember one time when I was sharing my testimony, and there was an elderly lady of 87 years old that came to me, and she said, how do you do it? How do you forgive? Because I cannot let go. And her words to me was, the person that has raped me has died, but I'm still struggling and I'm still being controlled from the grave. And because we walk with the secrets, we are being controlled with the grave. We are not free. And Lynn said, I'm sitting here, a free woman. And in order for whoever's listening to our voices this evening, in order to be free, is to share the secrets. But I want to add in that the Bible says daar is geen verlossing sonder bekering nie. And so we can do whatever we want to. We can make the decision to say, I'm not going to keep the secret. And I'm not going to allow this, and I'm not going to encourage that. But if I don't have the acceptance, or I haven't accepted Jesus Christ, I don't have the power of the Holy Spirit that can bring that freedom, because it is a struggle. And like you said earlier, that no one in this world can comprehend what has happened to us unless you went through it.
Wow.
And so it's only when we go through things, but by the power of the Holy Spirit, that brings the healing and the power and the boldness and the confirmations and the things that we say we are worthy. We're sitting here after many, many years, and we sit here and we are free. But like you said, healing, it's circling. It's not something that just happened.
It's not
We're still a work in progress, and that's why I'm saying
Beautiful.
we need Jesus.